the law says on just about every issue we've covered so far. Here joining us, let's welcome Beata Baran-Wesołowska, representing the Książek, Bigaj law firm. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good
Hi.
afternoon. I hope now I'm not only visible, but also it is possible to hear.
Exactly. And we're so happy to have you. Hello.
Hello.
It's such an important topic to address because, of course, we can address this from multiple perspectives, much of which can be wishful thinking, but there are also legal frameworks attached to just about any DEI discussion, the things you can do, the things you should do, and the things that are simply illegal, even if on the surface they may appear neutral. So, if you were to share with us, Beata, those things that you find most striking in the DEI conversation from the legal perspective, what would you start with?
Before you go ahead, I want to kind of ask a clarifying question before you answer the question from Łukasz, because I see particularly important aspect of the conversation. It's the geography we're talking about,
Exactly.
right? Are we talking here about Polish law? Or
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Frameworks. That's why I use the plural.
Let's include that in this perspective.
Beata, over to you.
Yes. Thank you very much for the clarification of the question. Let me start from some general comments regarding D&I and the legal aspect of this problem, this issue. So, when it comes to legal aspects of D&I, in my opinion, it's mandatory to ensure a minimum legal standard applicable to different situations, often different one from each other. And before we develop the issue of diversity and inclusion in legal terms, in particular, taking action to include disadvantaged groups and people, we should have one common ground relating to equal treatment in employment, counteracting discrimination, and responding to its occurrence. And what I plan to do today is to present those issues on the grounds of example of the Polish legal system. And regarding the Polish legal system, our constitution states that everyone is equal before the law. Everyone has the right to equal treatment by public authorities, and that no one can be discriminated against in public, social, or economic life for any reason.
Beata, we know that the theory always sounds great when you think about it. And I would imagine 95% of the world's constitutions contain this opening statement.
Exactly.
But that's theory.
Exactly. So how can we switch it to practice? As a lawyer, and to put the theory into practice, or we usually bring into the light what courts says, or how the jurisprudence looks like, because it's based on the real cases. And here there are very different aspects which can be bring us some examples of factors under which people can be discriminated. In accordance to Polish law, we have the open catalog of the prerequisites when a person can be discriminated, and what courts add to the basic factors like gender or nationality or race, religion, or political beliefs. What else can be here? There are the parental status or citizenships or place of residence. But what should be underlined here is that not every differentiation of the legal situation of working person will constitute discrimination. Employees have equal rights for equal performance of the same duties. But it follows firstly that it is admissible to differentiate the rights of employees who either perform different duties or perform the same duties, but not in the same way. And secondly, the legal situation of employees may be differentiated due to difference resulting from their personal characteristics, predispositions, and differences in the performance of work. And as an example here, it can be the field of maternity protection and some statutory privileges for pregnant women.
If I may ask you, because we would like to enter more into the territory of specific examples. I suppose it's clear for everyone in this audience that examples like mobbing, discrimination are the most intuitive examples of where DEI and the law meet. But statistically, Beata, I understand your law firm also specializes in issues around DEI. Statistically, what kind of cases or challenges are you facing most often in the context of DEI?
A lot of cases refers to, according to DEI, to ground of age, of sex, and also of
all under discrimination, right?
Yes, they are generally connected with discrimination or harassment, called mobbing as well.
So I suppose we understand why one should engage lawyers into the conversation and why it should perhaps not be only compliance officers and legal officers in companies, because it's not their responsibility exclusively, is it?
Definitely. The aspects of D&I in any organization, both public and private sector, as well as NGOs, should involve from the strategic perspective. Not only lawyers, who of course will have important role, especially as consultants for the introducing internal regulations, but definitely there is space for compliance officers and two more functions. Firstly, HR experts, who are definitely the one who deal the most with people in the organization, and ethics officers, who are the most deeply familiarized with the idea how the organization understand code of conduct, the other internal documents which are and definitely be complied with internal national legal regulations. So the D&I matter can be described like a common factor for different functions in an organization. But still, as a lawyer, I have to say something from the legal perspective. And the lawyers are not only here to help or to create the internal document, which can be D&I policy or anti-discrimination procedure, but also an expert and supporters in verification of irregularities which can occur during the execution of the internal policy. What can be strictly binded with, for example, whistleblowing procedure.
Thank you for that context, and I will step in as a timekeeper, as we have very little time left. I have one question that I want to make sure we are addressing. We observe that the legal system is relatively slow. The society often changes faster than the legal system in the country, and there are different changes also in different countries ongoing. European Union has a special role in this context that kind of often sets a tone, and I was wondering if there are any upcoming legal changes that are impacting D&I work that you could share with us. Is there anything in the pipeline, so to say, or in the oven of European Union legislation?
Definitely there is one new act prepared on the European Union level, which should be bring to the light today. So thank you very much for this question. This act is like commonly known as Directive on Corporate Sustainability Reporting. and it will bring some new obligations on companies following employers. Also regarding the D&I matter. Regarding the D&I, we can underline here the new obligation to firstly prepare it, then report aspects of the daily business connected with such things like equal opportunities for all, gender equality and equal pay for equal work, training and skills development. So some soft skills also will be here to present. And of course, employment and inclusion of people with disabilities. So secondly, it is also joined with working conditions, including secure and adaptable employment, wages, social dialogue as well. So also the cooperation with trade unions and employers organizations should be here addressed, collective bargaining, and the involvement of workers, as well as work-life balance. So a lot of new possibilities together with challenges which will be commonly addressed in the new document, which should be implemented in all the EU countries.
Thank you. Thank you. I really prefer to see law changes as a lever for positive change, not an obstacle. So that's my personal choice.
Exactly. Beata, Baran-Wesołowska, Książek, Bigaj law firm. Thank you for joining us, Beata, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. Have a great day.
Thank you.